There is much consternation in the world today. The news daily talks about wars and rumors of wars, be it trade wars, conventional war, or nuclear war. This is VillageVic. And though my channel describes me as a singer, songwriter, and writer of comical videos, I also am a student of finance, which I have used successfully in being an entrepreneur. I founded and have run my own company for decades. I wanted to share my views on what is going on in the world and how it will affect you based on my experience. President Trump is just in the process of cutting deals with over 70 countries on trade and tariffs, so we do not know exactly what the effect will look like, but we can take an educated guess based on his knowledge of economics and his stated goals. The potential tariff with China will be difficult to develop. China will not stop their predatory practices easily. We will need leverage. It will take a year or more to accomplish this task. Trump will not settle for low tariffs with China unless they are for minor, low-cost items. Any item of significance dealing with medicine, steel, automotive, technology, building materials will have very high tariffs since he wants those products to be manufactured in the US for our security. The problem will be getting manufacturers in this country to produce products at a similar cost to what the Chinese offer, even with the high tariffs attached to them. If they can't, consumers will see a huge increase in prices which will not be palatable. Since Chinese labor can be described as slave labor, they can produce products much cheaper than most of the rest of the world. Manufacturers in this country, to compete, will need to use a significant amount of technology and automation to be able to produce a better product at a comparable price. For instance, can a US manufacturer make a widescreen TV, tablet, cell phone, or laptop at the very reasonable rates that they can be purchased at today, which are mostly made in China? The other major factor is, can the new US manufacturers find the skilled labor needed to do so? The labor participation rate has been dropping from 66% 10 years ago to 62% today. There are millions of unfilled job openings. Even if all unemployed individuals found jobs, we would still have millions of unfilled jobs. And it's going to get worse because of all the new manufacturing companies moving to the US or existing companies who are expanding because of a larger market they will be able to sell their goods to. It will be difficult to compete with China's manufacturing, even with tariffs. The government is going to have to give significant incentives, tax breaks, for manufacturers to compete. In terms of the workforce, this is what I see will happen in the future. Since our birth rate has been steadily going downward, we are going to need bodies. I believe that immigrants who are not criminals will have an opportunity to get training to help fill the open job openings. In addition, I will look for the current administration to de-incentivize social programs which are very liberal. If an able-bodied individual can get a job, they will have a difficult time getting government freebies. Inflation. In the short run, look for inflation to be in the 2 to 3% range. However, look for products that were very inexpensive, like imports from China, to be higher in price soon if they can't be sourced from other countries. We know US employers have higher manufacturing costs, and right now companies will hesitate to produce low-cost goods if they don't know the outcome of the tariff war with China. One thing which will help offset the high manufacturing costs will be lower energy costs because of the current administration's plan to drill baby drill. The lower cost of energy will help in manufacturing and distribution. The overall effect will be product-specific. Grocery prices should be moderate. However, I would look for medications, healthcare, and electronics to increase in price significantly. If most of these will be made in the US, that certainly will be true. That, of course, will not happen overnight. If the tariffs go into effect immediately, the cost of some of these items will rise in a very short period of time. However, it's possible that products that were formerly manufactured in China may now go to other countries which still will have lower labor costs and will have lower tariffs, so they may have an advantage. Of course, that might take the production away from China, but would not force it into the US. US companies will need to compete with both China and other countries. Job market. With more manufacturing expected in the US, the demand for good workers will be significant. Employers will feel the pressure to increase wages, especially for highly trained individuals. Any good employee that can be trained will also be in high demand, so this is good news for workers. Even unskilled workers will see their wages rise. For workers, this will be a good time to shop in the market because some employers may be willing to pay more than their current employer. Of course, with change comes risk. Employers have different expectations of their employees, and some may be unreasonable and have little concern for their employees' personal situation, which means they will be inflexible. So, judge wisely when making changes. Do your homework. Talk to current and former employees of the company you are planning on being employed by. It will be time well spent. Jobs will be plentiful. Summary: long term, the challenge to control inflation will be significant. If our country has a huge national debt and continues to add to that debt, inflation will rise. The amount of money to service that debt now equals the amount we pay for our whole military. If we continue to spend more than we bring in, our national debt will grow even more, which of course means we will pay even more for interest and continue the vicious circle of borrowing or printing money to pay our bills. Hopefully, tariff revenue will help us remove deficits. With more good workers needed to fill open jobs, there will be pressure to raise wages, which means they will raise their prices. All of this leads to inflation by devaluing the dollar. In terms of protecting your wealth, investing in hard assets including land, buildings, precious metals, and rare collectibles should give you a hedge against inflation. The country faces a huge challenge. The US has faced many challenges in the past and has weathered every storm. With good leadership, we can lead the world to peace and prosperity in the future. The US is doing the right thing. There are bad actors out there like China and Russia that have openly said they want power. China wants the whole world. Russia wants the former Soviet Union back. We found out in history we must face bullies head on. If a bully is surrounding a country threatening to invade it, we must take it seriously and try to head it off before it happens. Like the Ukraine war, everyone saw it coming, but the US and Europe did nothing. They pretended it would go away or wouldn't happen. Well, it did happen. If bullies see weakness, they will strike. China has been flexing its muscles for years now, and no one is challenging them. For those who say there is chaos, they are right. The alternative is appeasement. This means a further eroding of our power and strengthening the bully. Our freedom is at risk. Thinking about anything else is being naive. We will need to sacrifice. The task at hand is great. We want to avoid war, but appeasement encourages war. Praise God for the courageous who are willing to stand up to evil and call it for what it is. This is VillageVic, and this is my take. I would be interested in hearing your comments. Subscribe to my channel and let's talk.